Hello! Welcome back to a Tech Ambrosia Saturday stream. It's been a couple of weeks, mostly because I was out of the state for a bit. And let's talk about it. That's mostly what I want to do this stream is just chat about VCF. Primarily because I've been back in my apartment for 2 days. I have not gotten anything prepared for stream, but also because if I go over here. The test bench is currently packed full of computers because I'm right in the middle of doing a video. So I don't want to tear all this stuff down just to have something for the stream and then put it all back. So we're just going to chat about VCF. Hopefully y'all are okay with that. I'll explain what's going on in the test bench too, so y'all can have a little bit of a behind the scenes look. So let's. There we go. So we've got a couple of folks in the stream chat already. I see Yinze is here. Hello, welcome back to the stream. Yinze says, I spy lab tech speakers. Yes, indeed, I brought my lab tech speakers. Everything is Broken Garage. Hello, Ryan. How's it going? Good evening. HC is also here. Hello, welcome to the stream. And Eric Rangel. Hello. Eric says, Mackie has weird eyes. Mackie is adorable. A national treasure. Let me know at any time if my voice starts to get robotic. It's not the internet. Actually, it's my USB sound blaster. It's starting to. I've had it for a year. It's starting to kick the bucket. So I've got a replacement on the way, but I didn't realize it was doing this until yesterday, when I was spending some time in Discord, and nothing I did network related fixed it until I just unplugged it from the USB and plugged it back in. Lovely. So let me know if stream audio gets a little weird at any point. I'm not going to make this a super long stream. Probably just going to go for the hour. But yeah, so let's chat. So first of all, what am I doing with the test bench over here? I am at the moment. Let's switch over there. Right now, I'm right in the middle of testing the RTX 3060 for an upcoming video. And yes, that is going to be the next video on the channel, is the 3060. It's a 12 gig version of the 3060, which I think will probably be interesting for people. For myself, this card is actually, I'm going to review this, and then it's going in my home lab, because it's going to be an AI accelerator. I'm doing some AI research on my own time, and this is going to be basically the card that's going to power that research, because it's got tensor cores, it's got 12 gigs of VRAM. It's not like ultra fast, but it's not terrible as far as like, training small models and doing inference on AI. So that's what this card is destined for. But before then, it's getting a channel video, and it's going to be I'm going to pitch it against its retail rival, the 6650 XT, because 3060s are like $250 or so on eBay right now, and the 6650 XT is $250 new. So that, I don't even know. I have no idea how the benchmarks are going to come out, but it's going to be the channels. It's going to be Department of Rendering's first card battle, and it's not even like a historic matchup or anything. It just happens to be two cards that exist in contemporary time for about the same money, one used and one new. So that's what's coming up on the channel. That's why the test bench is currently occupado. But as far as VCF, let's head back over to the A cam. I should probably do one of these layouts where I have my camera in like this section of the screen, and then I've got my three little thingies. Anyway. I'll figure that out eventually. So VCF SoCal. It was the first one. There's a whole bunch of VCFs, right? Around the world you got VCF West, you have VCF East, VCF Southwest, and VCF Midwest, of course, is the big one that everybody loves to go to. I know Midwest is in September. I don't remember when the other ones are. And then obviously SoCal's the new one, and that was President's Day weekend, just a week ago. I went as an exhibitor, which means I got some free swag, which is pretty cool. So I got a t-shirt. Hold it up the right direction. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. How cool is that? VCF SoCal 2024. Orange, California. So Orange is right up around, like, the Irvine area. Sort of within the Inland Empire area of Southern California. I mean, the weather was fantastic. I managed to dodge the rain, thankfully, except for my drive back was entirely rain the whole way, from the Pacific Coast all the way into my hotel stop in Las Vegas. Continuous rain the whole way. It was kind of amazing to see that much rain. So as far as me, I ran a booth talking about 3D printing. So I had my little 3D printer over here, which is blocked by graphics cards, because of course it is. That's how my life is. I brought along my 3D printer. I brought along this, which is, if you remember the permanent gaming PC that I did a stream on like months ago at this point, that's this machine. It's the 440LX with a Climath Pentium 2. I swapped out the Voodoo Banshee for a Matrox G250 that I wouldn't mind, you know, if it ended up walking away, I wouldn't be super sad about it. Nothing did. There were no issues. I was just being cautious, you know. It's my first time exhibiting, but this was I had this running. What did I have it running? Mostly Quake, but you know, it has a G250 in it, so I also ran some Forsaken on it, and a couple of people did try and play. They spotted that I installed Quake 3 on this, and they did try and play Quake 3 on this, which this will run Quake 3 at about 25 FPS. So I apologize to all of you who played Quake 3 on this. Not the ideal system to run that on. But I brought two systems. This was one of them. Obviously I had my 3D printer, which, to be fair, the 3D printer, the ARM, you know, the ARM CPU in the 3D printer is probably the most powerful computer in that room. But it didn't count as a system. My other system was sort of an interesting thing that I came up with, like, as I was packing for the show. I came up with this idea to, like, because here's the thing, right? So Sean made his video, Sean Action Retro, made his video about dailying haiku, because it's in a really good place right now. And I've been contributing to the haiku project monetarily on a monthly basis through their Patreon for a couple of years now, because I'm a huge fan of BOS. I used it back in the day on PowerPC. I used it a little bit when they tried to do their x86 launch right before the company folded. And I loved it. It's a terrific operating system. It gets out of your way, it's low latency, it's really snappy. It's a really nice operating system. And as soon as the Haiku project basically kicked off, I started, you know, sending them some Patreon dollars. So, hearing that Haiku is in such a good state at this point, you know, there's no hardware acceleration for 3D cards, but everything else is pretty much there. You've got a development environment, you've got a modern browser that works with modern sites, and modern sign-on techniques, and works with OAuth, stuff like that. You've got QEMU if you need virtual machines, so you can run other operating systems inside Haiku. It's in a really good place at this point. I'm like, I kind of want to try dailying it, but dual booting sucks, like a lot. So I came up with this concept. See if you are thinking the same way I am with it. A few people, like, not a few people, like, maybe 50% of people who came up to my booth, like, saw this thing, and they got it. They understood what I was trying to do with it. My concept, this is extremely early days, literally, I finished printing this the day I had to leave for VCF. But the concept is, you have 2.5-inch SATA SSDs, and they just go in the top. I've got what is essentially a removable 2.5-inch hard drive bracket that you would install in like the back of a case in an expansion slot. You just take that apart, take the circuit board out. It gives you basically a hot swappable 2.5-inch you know, SATA drive bay. And at the moment, because it's spent the last 2 days sitting in my car and riding home across, you know, 1,000 miles, it's not aligned at the moment. I don't think it's gonna plug in for me. No, it's not. Of course not. But at the show, you can just drop one of these SSDs in it, hit the power button, which I had on the... it's just one of these little, like, keyboard remote power button things. Pop in the cartridge, hit the power button, it boots up the new OS, right? You're done with it, you shut down the OS, take out the cartridge, plug in whatever else you want. One of the cartridges that I made for it before I left was Haiku with a nightly snapshot from about 2 weeks ago. And it turned out to be super, super popular. Well, not like super popular, but a lot of folks wandered over to my area asking about Haiku, and they're certainly welcome, perfectly welcome. The whole point of having my setup was that so you could play around with these machines. So yeah, a whole bunch of folks ran over to try Haiku on this weird 3D printed like cartridge PC concept thing that I came up with. And the hardware in this thing, a few people asked, like, what is the hardware on this? It's nothing super special. It's like an 18 watt AMD APU from like 2012. It's not amazing. But it gets the job done, especially when you have an OS that's as lightweight as Haiku is. I wonder if this thing is still gonna... Oh, I see. It's pushed around inside a little bit. There it is. Yeah, it just slots in like that. I made up a couple of cartridges for it. They're somewhere in this box. I can dig them out in a second here, but this was the second system that I brought, and this is, you know, as bare bones as this is, the 3 operating systems I brought with me were Haiku and Windows XP, because this has all native driver support for Windows XP, and then Antix Linux, which is just a lightweight, I think Debian-based Linux, but also worked out of the box with this hardware. I had full, you know, hardware acceleration support. I played a little Tux Racer on it. Works great. So I had 3 OSs you could choose from. You just, you know, slot it into the top, hit the power button, it boots up this OS. This is kind of what I want to do for my next PC, and I'm not sure how far I want to take the proof of concept before I start like digging into the actual design, because as it is now, it's very much just a proof of concept. Like this is just held on by hopes and dreams, honestly. But I'd like to eventually like turn these into open design plans, so anybody can download this and drop it onto a you know, mini ITX motherboard, and have something like this, have a, you know, a cartridge-based machine. And yeah, I did a little flexing with my 3D printing skills, right? So I printed this on the A1 with the AMS. I didn't bring the AMS with me because it would just take up too much space. But I did print this one out with the AMS, so I got all four colors. So we've got kind of this cool metallic sheen blue here, and then of course red, yellow, green. I would love to add another louver on here with like a nice bright blue to kind of get that ZX Spectrum Next vibe going on. I just didn't have the space, and I don't have a blue right now that would work well with it. I'm pretty sure you can get this, so the AMS can do 4 colors, right, automatically, but I'm pretty sure if you assign this like red, yellow, green, red, and then once it finishes printing the red, it switches to the yellow, just pull out all of the red filament and replace it with some other color, and when it comes back around to the red, it'll just print that other color. I'm pretty sure you can do 7 colors and a 4-color AMS with a little bit of finagling if you're just doing like color changes at layer lines like this. But that's my plan, is to make this a full PC that I will use every day. That's the hope anyway. I've got that old BioStar board that I mentioned in one of my cheap Ryzen videos. I still have it. It's sitting on the shelf back there. It's just about this size, believe it or not. It's a mini ITX, or no, it's micro ATX, but it's about 175 millimeters, you know, deep, where mini ITX is 170. So it's just about the same depth as this. I think I might be able to do it. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, so these are the two systems that I brought with me. I had printed a little fit-over cover for the end of it here that most of the time sort of stayed on, kinda, maybe, sorta. These two pieces I obviously printed separately. This one I printed, weeks ago, and then this piece, like I said, I reprinted it the morning I had to leave for Southern California. Mercifully, it worked, and it completed. Yeah, see, I've got little vents in the sides. Both pieces here. This is just a clone of the other side, and then these louvers are floating in a kind of a fun way. Because you can sort of start prints in midair, as long as you're going straight. A printer can print in midair. You connect it from one end to the other. Works fine. So I have you can see I've got little supports here to keep things from straying too far. But yeah, this is a fun little exercise, and I will be looking forward to finishing this because it's gonna be a fun. It'll make for a fun video. It's going to be a nice computer to use, I think, once I'm done with it. So the final thing, I'm thinking maybe something like an AM5 APU, booting off of SATA, and then I've got like a 4 terabyte NVMe on the inside for file storage and games and stuff. Just put it in a file system that a bunch of operating systems can read. So anyway, this is the computer concept I brought with me. And again, my booth was about 3D printing and retro computers. So this is a little bit of a stretch, but the real idea for me for the booth was to. I had several people walk up to me and say, "What are you selling? So what's your product? What are you selling?" I'm like, "I'm not selling anything. I'm selling a dream, right? To be able to just make things that you think of, right?" And this is the perfect example. I came up with this idea literally while I was starting to pack for VCF SoCal. Modeled it, printed it, here it is. It exists in the real world now. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's it's an early prototype. I think this is what 3D printing. This is how 3D printing shines, right? A lot of my booth was, hey, look, you can print out reproduction, replacement parts for your old computers. But I think really where 3D printing really shines is coming up with new stuff like this, things that never existed before. I think it's kind of a cool thing. Anyway, so those are the two systems that I made. A lot of people were interested in haiku. A lot of people, which was cool because, like I said, I love haiku. So I'm glad that I could, give them a haiku experience. It wasn't exactly super fast, but being haiku, it was pretty responsive even on this pathetic hardware. So, what else did I do? A lot of times, folks would come up. This was kind of sitting behind one of my monitors, so you couldn't really see it. And they'd ask you what's your booth? What are you doing here? And I'd explain that I do 3D printing, and I 3D print these test benches as my primary thing. And then to show them while their kid is playing Doom on my Pentium, I just pick the whole thing up by the handle on the test bench, and just this is what I do. this is how 3D printing enables what I do. And it was a pretty good demo. A lot of folks are like, well, what CPU is under there? And you can just slide off the CPU cooler I've got on there. It is misaligned, of course it is. There we go. These two prints were made very, very far apart from one another, and they don't align the best. A little annoying. But, yeah. The print itself, though, this thing has survived quite nicely. That's being hauled a couple of 1,000 miles, and then being manhandled by me at the show, whenever anybody wants to see it, just, grabbing it, picking it up. It's done very well. You can see it, maybe you can see it. I've zip-tied my little support bracket thingies here, because yeah, putting this in the trunk of a car pretty much guaranteed that these things are just going to fall out and everything's just going to go everywhere. So I just zip tied them for safety. it's fine. I do need to make a revision to these because it turns out with a printer that goes fast and like actually makes correct corners, these don't fit in the slots in the card I/O shields the way I expect them to. These should. I made these. I designed these to like fit in firmly and like stay stuck in the I/O bracket so that it doesn't go anywhere, and they super don't. Not when you're on a bamboo lab. So I've got to redesign them. But anyway, yeah, I've got a. What else did I not talk about? Power supply is just my Antec 350. What are you? 350 Antec Basic. Zip tied up all my ketchup and mustard cables. Brought along my Sound Blaster Vibra 16. Again, I didn't bring anything fun. I was thinking about bringing along the Pico Gus, but again, I wanted to make sure I brought something that if it happened to walk away, I wasn't expecting things to walk away, but if it happened to walk away, I wouldn't be that upset about it. Still did the job. Sound Blaster's fine. Can still rip the Duke 3D theme with OPL2 FM. So it was good. It was good, and yeah, I mostly spent my time at my booth, just answering questions or making sure that nothing's crashed. I think I got about a dozen kids over the weekend who came up and played games on it. And then of course they'd play for like a minute or two, and then they'd either get bored and leave, or their parent would come along and shoo them away from the computer, and they'd just leave the game in some kind of whatever state. So hopping around the back of the booth and resetting the game so they're on their demo modes. But yeah, I did take a little video. So, do you have any questions in chat? Everything's Broken Garage said, we had a meeting, myself and the other Canadians, and we've decided to make Mackie an honorary Canadian. Very nice. I'm sure Kate is so proud. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, Starbuck, thank you so much. Yes, hit that like button. RetroMac UK, hello, welcome. Good to see you. So yeah, I've got some pictures and some video. I figured the easiest way to show you all on stream is actually using this test bench sitting on my bench over here, and I just threw the video files on there. We'll just take a look through some of it there. So do a quick switch there. Yep, so this is the test bench. Currently testing the 3060. This is the new PCI Express test bench for the year, at least the year. 5800X3D. It's still on that Asus Prime A320 motherboard that I've shown off for like a year and a half now. It's a workhorse. It's a total workhorse. It's booting off a SATA SSD. I've got an NVMe on the board that's doing gaming duty, so all of my games are installed on there. And yeah, there's the 3060, 12 gig. I know the text is pretty small, probably not readable. Yeah, I don't care about that. That's not what we're here for. We are here to look at VCF. So, let's see. Pictures. I didn't take a ton of pictures. I'm so frustrated. I have one picture of this video toaster. Yes, somebody went in and they brought an Amiga 4000 or whatever, Amiga 1000, I don't know what it is. I don't know Amigas at all, but they brought a video toaster and it was working. And you can just barely see in the lower right corner, they made this cool lower third for Vintage Computer Festival SoCal, and they were just running it like it was like a live news broadcast, and I wanted to get a picture of it. So I framed up this shot with my camera, and I took it, and I'm like, oh, nope, I'm off a little bit. And by the time I got my reframing in, he had switched the lower third to something else, and I was like, ah, almost got this cool picture of a video toaster doing its thing. Very cool, though. I have not seen a video toaster in action, like, in front of me, obviously, pretty much all the TV in the 90s, you know, live titling and stuff like that was all, you know, compositing done on a video toaster. Never seen one actually operating in front of my in front of my face with my actual eyes. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's totally seamless. Like, you don't even realize that this thing is overlaying video. No idea. It looks completely seamless. It's very cool. What else? We had somebody there had just a display of all the colors of iBooks, which is awesome. That is some serious unobtainium there on that desk. I've always wanted a lime iBook. Ever since they came out, I wanted the lime one. And they were too expensive for me. And they've remained too expensive for me. One of these days, maybe I'll get my hands on a lime iBook that's not, like, completely broken. I don't know, maybe it'll never happen. They're in pretty bad shape these days. This is very cool to see. And what you can't see at the very end, hidden away there back behind the Blueberry iBook, is a PowerBook 2400, which again, never seen one in person. They're much smaller than you expect them to be. Like you see pictures of a PowerBook 2400, the super ultra portable Apple laptop, the PowerPC one from like 97 or whatever. They look like normal PowerBooks. They look like normal PowerBooks. Like, they maybe have a slightly small screen, but like, it's because they've taken a PowerBook and they've like put it on a copy machine at like 75% size. It's uncannily small. It's really cool looking. That's another one that would be really nice to own, but it's never going to happen for me. Never going to happen. I also don't have, like, the infrastructure for proper care and feeding of a PowerBook 2400, so I'm very glad that this person does, because it's in really good shape, ran perfectly, and the guy was walking around the whole show floor with an original QuickTake, and then loading the pictures on this PowerBook 2400 to show them off, so it was very cool. Very cool. What else? Oh yes, my personal obsession is the Atari ZEGS, the XE gaming system from 1985, 1987. Love this thing. Love this thing. I apologize for the poor lighting. The white balance is terrible in all of these pictures, just because of the interior lights. But you know the ZEGS, right? It's this cool gray case. You've got the cartridge slot at a 45-degree angle, and then those 4 pastel buttons on the front. Like, it just looks cool. It's just a cool looking console. And this was the San Diego Computer Museum who had this set up. So it had that Flower Power iMac, the original Pong home machine, and then the ZEGS, and they had a couple of other machines over there as well. Just super cool. There was a ZEGS for sale in the consignment area. If I hadn't, like, forgotten my PIN card for my debit card, my PIN number, I probably would have bought the ZEGS, because I want one. I don't need one. I have nothing to do with one. I don't have any Atari games, but I really want a ZEGS. Really bad. There's another view of the ZEGS. It's in fairly good shape. Like, it needs a good retro bright on the keyboard, but otherwise it's in pretty good shape. And they had it just running a game on one of the Commodore monitors in 1702. Very good shape for this machine. The one that was for sale was in better shape. And then there was the other thing that caught my eye. Like, there's a ton of stuff there. The other thing that caught my eye enough for me to take a still photo of it was this setup of portable Tandys. Tandy was one of those things that completely passed me by. Completely passed me by. I have a Coco 2 in the other room. I don't know where it came from. I never had Tandys growing up. I didn't know anybody who had Tandys. And then there's this display of, like, various portable Tandys from throughout the ages. You know, from the portable CRT model here. What is this one? This one's wild. What's that, Model 40? Model 45? I can't read it. Just wild, huge, luggable, all the way down to, like, you know, these are classic. What is the Model 100s? Just great, terrific looking little machines. Yeah, the Model 100s. I love these. This is like, one of these days I want to make a Cyber deck that's just this form factor, except it's got like a 1080 by 480, or a 1920 by 480, OLED display in it, with some kind of, harvested mechanical keyboard from, from like Amazon or something. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool. I love the form factor for these. I know they're garbage. They're hot garbage to type on because the display is crap. You can't read it. Oh, and also this little tiny floppy drive. I don't know why. There's something about it. I just really liked it. It's got that kind of like cassette futurism vibe that like a lot of the Japanese machines have, where it's kind of like, it's got these like just rounded off corners, and it's a little fiddly. It's got like fine text and square buttons. It's got that cool aesthetic to it. Other stills, mostly just driving. There's a few cool things that I saw while I was out driving, but you probably don't care about that. Most of what I took while I was there was video. I run a YouTube channel, of course I took video while I was there. Let's see. The early videos are me just walking around the show floor. This is early in the day, Saturday? I don't remember if this is late on setup day on Friday or if this is early Saturday. So we loaded in Saturday or Friday night. Yeah, that. Oh, hang on. There's so much stuff going on in this video. That. Is that an Onyx? What is that? That was I don't know. It's the Silicon Graphics Twin Tower. That is a computer. That red thing that looks like a table, that's a computer. That is an SGI machine. Gigantic, massive computer just sitting on the floor. Very cool. It didn't do a lot during the weekend, unfortunately. Super cool though. I love those old SGI machines. They did crazy stuff back then. So here's the San Diego Computer Museum setup. There's that Zegs. There's the Pong machine. We've got an Amiga here. Jaguar, VCS, Tandy 100. And yeah, you may have caught it there. There's a Game Gear with one of those stupid magnifying glasses. I had one of those back in the day. They sucked. That sucked so much. The Game Gear with the magnifying glass was such a terrible thing. I love that it was there. Oh, so what else? This was... who was this guy? I talked to him for a while. I have terrible memory, and like everyone's name has fled my brain at this point. He was mostly doing music. You can see you've got a C64 here with the keyboard add-on that goes over the top of the keys. Is that a C64 or a VIC-20? I thought that was for the VIC-20, but it looks like, I don't know. I've never seen a VIC-20 that's black, but maybe that's part of his cool display. Got I think that's a C128, Commodore 64. Yep, lots of Commodore machines. This is, of course, the astute among you will recognize this Color Classic is actually a Mystic. So it's got an LC575 motherboard in it. Very cool. It was pretty obvious if you know Color Classics at all. You look at it once and it'd be like, that's too many pixels for that screen. That's a Mystic, isn't it? And yeah, it's totally a Mystic. Also running an external display, which is cool. We've got the Phoenix, the F256K. I was running some simple demos over the weekend. I wish there was more stuff going on in the F256 world. There just wasn't a lot. The guy running this just didn't have a lot of stuff to demo. At one point, the one on the left was running a basic interpreter. The one on the right was just kind of like smooth scrolling random colors up the screen, which is, if you know about 8-bit machines, that's pretty cool. If you don't know about 8-bit machines, it looks like it's broken. I hope that the F256K does more stuff in the future. I really do. And this one, this Phoenix, is built into a cool mini IGX case, which is pretty awesome. That's pretty neat. More 8-bit machines and mini IGX cases. That would be pretty great. We got a Amiga CD32. I don't know what this thing's deal was. I should have asked, because this was running games pretty much the entire weekend, this Amiga on the end here. But I don't know what its deal was, what it was running or how it was running it, especially the stuff like this that looked, you know, borderline Dragon's Lair, like FMV type stuff. I don't know. That's the bad part about going as an exhibitor, is you're kind of stuck behind your booth, and you gotta answer questions from people who come up to you, which was fun. It just means I don't know what the heck was going on the show floor. I really don't know. This is Project Aquarius, which is a from-scratch 8-bit computer home video game console computer thingy, which is pretty cool. He gave a talk on it, on building it. I missed it because I was at my booth answering questions. But yeah, it's a neat project. A lot of 3D printing in there. You got 3D printed controllers, you got 3D printed cases, and a lot of implementations of the Aquarius running demos. Lots of stuff going on that booth. It's very cool. We had vendors. So this half of the ballroom was vendors. Okay. Do I get down to the... This was cool. Lots of cool nostalgia stuff in here. And yeah, vendor. Most of it for sale. This guy though, selling Macs in the corner. As the weekend wore on, I just kind of casually looked at the Macs on sale here. Not to throw too much shade, but I noticed, you know, as he continued to have sales on these Macs, their prices continued to go up over the weekend. Just, you know. Clever. There were a few interesting examples in here. Most of them were like you had a pair of 2SIs here with no power. I'm like, I don't want to fix a 2SI power supply, no thanks. I've seen Big Bad Biologist do it. I don't want to do it. I think it was BBB. Maybe it was Garth. Garth, did you fix a 2SI power supply? I feel like it's terrible. It's not a thing you want to do. So what else is in here? Oh yeah, I kind of skated past it, but... Oh, of course, I'm not pointed at... So if I had taken this camera and pointed it 90 degrees to the right, you would have seen Sean's booth, Action Retro. Sean had a booth in the corner, mostly because his wife didn't want to be right in the center, which makes sense. It was a little wild. The turnout was actually pretty good. Saturday's turnout was pretty hoppin'. Do I go down all the way to... Oh, there's the Accelerated Max guy again. This is a vendor. Did I talk about the Accelerated Max guy already? I feel like I did, maybe I didn't. I should probably talk about this guy. So this guy here on the corner. He's got these four Macs here. And his booth was pretty much swamped the entire time. He was answering questions basically constantly, all weekend. You've got a 128K, a Plus, an SE30, and then a Quadra 700. And all of these machines are running vintage period-correct accelerators. Every single one of them. Which is pretty cool. I think even the Quadra 700, I think, is PowerPC accelerated. I think it's got a 601 accelerator in it, but I'm not sure. Again, he was booked the entire weekend just answering questions, so I didn't have a chance to talk to him, but very cool. He was an exhibitor, not a vendor, but he is kind of shoved into the vendor area, unfortunately. But he had a really cool display. Old vintage accelerated Macs. Oh yes, Garth says yes, I've done a few. Yeah, 2SI power supplies, no thanks. Yeah, right? Garth's like, is that $100 for an eMac? Like, yeah, it's $100 too much for an eMac. So this is one of the vendors. Real nice guy. I had to borrow a cloverleaf cable from him to test this, which is something that I bought while I was there. Super cool guy. Let me borrow it. Was able to test that the laptop works, and I was able to give it back to him. Also, he just has like a bunch of retro knickknacks. Like, this is a bunch of ISA cards, but also like expansion cards for things that I didn't recognize. I think there were some Zorro cards in here. There were probably some EISA cards in here. Maybe some microchannel cards. There were cards in here that I did not recognize. Also mixed in with like Matrox G450s and stuff like that. Just like random run-of-the-mill cards you'd find on eBay. But super cool guy, great prices on all of his stuff. I already had at least one copy of every single graphics card he had on display, or I would have bought something from him. That wasn't a cable. I did eventually, here, no, where is it? So yeah, they're cables, just cables, tons of cables. But here on the end, on the left end here, I think that's where it was. He had a box of like unsorted RAM, just like RAM sims, various sizes. And I cleaned him out for all of his 30-pin sims, because I just don't have enough of them. And one of the things that I bought from the consignment area was a 486 motherboard. That takes 30-pin sims, and this is it. He only had three 30-pin sims left by the time I was able to get over to him and buy anything from him. But my hope is this one works, because my other two 486 boards, I've given up the ghost. It's really frustrating. Really, really frustrating. Fingers crossed. So, let's see, is there anything else? I think that's it. There's just all the cables there. What else? Yeah, I apologize for the CRT flicker. My camera's a Sony CV1, so it's not the cool Magic Panasonic that can match the CRT sync rates. But like I was saying, the cool aesthetic, the cassette futurism aesthetic of the MSX machines, super cool. Love it. It's another platform like the Zegs that like I really want, but I have nothing to do with it. I have no idea. I know nothing about the MSX machines, but they all look so cool, just so cool. This is also kind of neat. This is what it looks like. This is an Atari 800 running an Arduino, which is then, doing Arduino things with this LED matrix. And he's got his little display here telling you how, like he's programming the Arduino over the joystick port and stuff like that. Like you can collect data from the Arduino, bring it back to the Atari. It's the one case where like usually you think about putting like a Raspberry Pi or something into a computer and then augmenting it with the extra processing horsepower. And in this case, I think the Arduino and the Atari are probably neck and neck, really, in terms of performance. Some more Ataris that I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about Ataris. One of the sponsors for the weekend was Southern Amis, which is apparently, I thought, an Amiga thing. Southern Amis? No. Southern Amis is a Southern California Atari Media Information System. It's like a It's like the FujiNet project, but from back in the 80s. I didn't even know it existed, but apparently there was an online effort for Atari machines way back then, and this is an enthusiast group that's dedicated to the AMIS project, which is pretty cool. I had no idea it existed. I don't know anything about Ataris. Everything is broken garage. That's Sean in the corner. Losing his shenanigans. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, Garth says, oh wow, I bought PC stuff from that guy, I think, at VCF Midwest. Yeah, probably. There were a lot of folks who have made the rounds to other VCFs at this one. Including, where's the guy? With the... Yep, this is the guy. With PDP-11. That's running Lunar Lander. Yeah, he's back, he's here. We didn't have the power problems at SoCal that we had at, apparently, that other folks had at other VCFs. Even so, when I traveled there, I did bring a spare UPS, just in case. But yeah, I don't think anybody had any complaints about power issues, so. Very cool. A couple of folks, you know, got looped into this game. This game plays with a light pen. It's very hard, obviously. This is the booth that I was next to, which is a homemade synthesizer based around the Motorola 6800 processor family. Not the 68000, 6800. That was their 8-bit microprocessor. And not the 6809, not the revision one that added in, you know, multiplication. Kind of important. But it was pretty cool. So far, they're programming it all in assembler, and right now they've got it doing 16 voice polyphony and square waves. But obviously, being a programmable processor, it can do whatever they program it to do. The next thing on their list, I was talking to the guys, is percussion. So right now there's no percussion; it's just the square waves. But yeah, I heard a lot of square wave classical music all weekend, lots and lots. Pictures at an exhibition. Oh, what was the one that they were playing constantly? Surprisingly, they didn't play Toccata and Fugue, but lots and lots of classical music all weekend, run through a 16-voice square wave synthesizer. And then this was well, I didn't record it. I did record it somewhere. It's not in that one. Here we go. My booth was this. On the left is the Pentium 2. On the right, obviously, is the 3D printed cartridge concept machine. And then I had my A1 Mini there, and printing at the show, which was... I had one person come up to me and say that was brave, but, you know, it's a Bamboo Lab. It was perfectly fine. It did great. I had no problems. A little bit of warping. I printed some test benches. I printed a little sign for the event. Just swapped filaments out halfway through on one of the layers, and because you can see I didn't bring my AMS with me. But yeah, that was my booth. A little close up on the cartridge PC, so you can see like. I made little labels for the SSDs, you know, with whatever operating system I had on them. So of course the Windows XP one had all of the cool games on it. That was the one that I used most of the time in the machine for like the demo and attract mode. But yeah, this was my booth. It was a good time. It was a good time. What else do I have in here? Commodore 128. I liked the disk drives. I don't know why this one was blinking, but I wanted to get a video of it blinking. What else? More Commodores. It's another huge facet of retro computing that I know nothing about. Lots and lots of Commodores. I think these are all Amigas of various types. Maybe 128s? I don't know. Got some cool old machines up here. I think this is it a +4? On the near side, I don't remember. There's an XL. I think that's an Atari XL. Maybe it's not. I don't know my Ataris. But yeah, this booth was also pretty popular, which you can't see because I didn't point my camera upwards. Is that he also had a monitor. One of these machines was plugged into a big overhead monitor. You could play games on. It's pretty cool. What else? This little tiny CRT is so cool. So cool. Had to get a little footage of the 2GS. This was my childhood right here. A 2GS? A 2GS with the playing Arkanoid 2. Like this was me for hours back when I was a kid. I loved Arkanoid 2. The sound effect for when you pick up the shrink pill and your paddle shrinks to smaller, that sound effect, it is burned into my brain forever. It will be there until the end of time. Good old 2GS. Oh, this is cool. Is the audio coming through from these? I don't know if this one's actually going to sound great. Because this is a relay computer. I'll turn this audio up a little bit. Apologies if it's loud. It was very loud during the day. Nothing like a nice relay computer, huh? I hope everybody can hear that. It's great. Skilla says Arkanoid 2 is still cool. It's cool. It's also tough. That is a hard game. Oh, there's that portable Tandy, with the little disk drive. I thought the disk drive was so cute. I don't know why I'm obsessed with it, but I like it. See what I mean, though? Like, the aesthetic. The aesthetic is great. Like, it's totally got that cassette futurism vibe, right? I love it. I love that aesthetic. It's good. Oh, yeah, here, so on my left was the homemade synthesizer. On my right was an 8-player GameCube gaming setup, and it was hoppin' the whole time. Just complete madness. Day in, day out. Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Is it vintage? Is it retro? I don't know. Everybody seemed to like it. It was a lot of fun. This is... Oh, yeah. So this is this... Oh, I tried to get a good shot of this, but people kept walking in front of me. This is an aesthetic, right? Like this. That is an aesthetic. You got the lava lamp, and you got the old... it's not a Data General terminal, but you know this terminal. This appeared in so many films and TV series. What an aesthetic! I loved it. I had to capture it because it's just, so good. And that's about it. I got a little video of driving by this sphere in Las Vegas because it's where I stayed. But yeah, that was my weekend at VCF SoCal. It was good. I had a lot of fun. It was a good time. So we've gone just about an hour. That was amazing. That worked out like perfectly. Oh yeah, the laptop. So I bought an old Dell. This is something. What are you? It is a Latitude XPI. This is a Pentium, the original Pentium. I don't remember what speed it is. I'll have to double check it once I get it reintegrated into the fleet. I got this specifically because I have a thing right over there that I want to show on the channel, and I need an old laptop with no CD-ROM drive that's fast enough to use a CD-ROM drive. And this don't mind the foot. It's okay. I just need to screw that back in. It had a rough journey home in the car, but it's in pretty good shape. I plugged it in, tested it. It works. Boots up to Windows 98. I think it has 24 megs of RAM. It's Pentium something. I don't know what it is. Nothing special as far as graphics on board. Obviously, like all these old Office machines were all like S3 something or other 2D cards. But a couple of cool things about it: trackball, freaking trackball, and the port door on the back. Let me switch over to the A camera. It's the wrong mouse. Switch over to the A camera here. The port door in the back is still intact, which is amazing. You never see that. You never see that on old laptops. So obviously this one is not present. Oh, it is present. It's just flipped up, I think. Oh, it's wedged in there. I'll get that out at some point. There we go. It's having a bad time. I need to go through this and check some of the connectors, but yeah, there you go. Port doors present. Because like this says started to separate, mostly because this screw came out during transport home. This was present when I bought it. Again, it's just like this one wasn't loose. I just have to go find the screws at the bottom of the boxes that these were transported home in, and get them back into this machine. But it's not a terrible keyboard, honestly. Like if you've used like Apple keyboards from PowerBooks in the 90s, like they're generally pretty nasty. Like they're real mushy. It's not bad. That's not this. This is pretty good. Not bad at all. Anyway, the whole point of getting this is PCMCIA slots on the side, because that's the thing I want to show y'all. So, expect to see this in a future video. This was pretty cheap. I was happy to find this for the price. Because you try and find a laptop like this on eBay and it's like $100, $150, $200. No thanks. What else? I don't think there's anything else. I got a sticker, which was cool. But yeah, that's it. Here's my card from the show. There's my exhibitor card. So yeah. I was official. I was a real YouTuber. Somebody actually asked me to sign their Commodore 64. It's like, is this the channel becoming legitimate? I don't know. I understand. Oh, Reed, hello. Yes, Reed says, I had a chance to chat with you at the show about the A1 Mini. Inspired me to go out and buy a starter printer. Not an A1, though. What did you get? What'd you end up getting? I'm curious to know. And Johnny Chang asks, is there any standard docking connectors among the different laptop manufacturers? No! They're entirely proprietary. Most of them do the same thing. Like, they usually just expose some part of the internal bus on the computer. But, like, what part of the bus and what signaling is used? Like, is this PCI? Is this ISA? Is this just the front side bus stuck in an outside connector? Who knows? Is this a bunch of pins on the Northbridge chipset just routed out to a connector? Who knows? They could pretty much just do whatever they wanted, and so none of the docking connectors work between manufacturers. They don't even work between different models of laptop usually. The docking connectors are almost always completely dependent on the individual laptop model. Oh, Reed got the Ender 3 V3 KE. Nice. Nice. I had a printout of starter printers I was recommending because the Ender 3 V3 SE is down to $200 these days, which is just a really good deal, honestly, for a direct drive, auto bed leveling, reasonable printer. $200 is not bad at all. The KE is the same thing but running Clipper, which is cool. Means it's going to go faster, which is nice. So good. Nice Reed. Good choice. I think it's a good starter printer. Oh yeah, and everything is broken garage mentions except newer USB-C Thunderbolt docks. For the most part, depending on whether they've implemented all the specs in USB-C. Because like, sometimes they don't do, the DisplayPort alt mode. Sometimes they don't implement that. OneBit asks, was the homemade synths playing straight square wave, or could it pulse width modulate them? No PWM yet. It was just straight square waves. Yeah, I asked that as well. There's no. They do have ADSR implemented, so they do have envelopes, but it's just straight straight square waves. No PWM, no pulse width modulation. Eton asks, are you finishing up? Yeah, it's been about an hour. That's what I wanted to spend chatting about VCF. I think that's going to be it for the day. So I've got to get hopping. I've got benchmarking to do. I've got a VR thing to get to that I've missed for the last weekend. So I have stuff to do. Yeah, everything's broken garage mentions. Yes, DisplayPort alt mode and also pass-through charging is hit or miss on USB-C docks, which is unfortunate. It's better than it's been. Like the legacy docks, sometimes even model changes. Like from one latitude to another, the docks would be incompatible. Like it was real bad. They basically just turned into e-waste as soon as that laptop was obsolete. Super annoying. Super annoying. Skilla says, I know all about the MSX platform. That's awesome. Skilla says, I had a Sony MSX2 as my first computer. That's awesome. That's where I learned Z80 assembly and reverse engineering. That's fantastic. Skilla's in the Netherlands. That's very cool. It's very cool. Yeah, there was really no market penetration for them here in the States. So I didn't even know they existed until I started like getting into, retro computers. I was like, what the heck is this MSX thing? OneBit had said a while back that Mac accelerators are cool until you realize all your game's sound is effed. Alrighty. Yeah, everything's broken garages. Yeah, indeed, e-waste from the factory. Anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to go over on today's stream. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I will be here back again, of course, next Saturday. No guarantees on the next video. I've got to benchmark this not this one. This one doesn't need any benchmarking. It's had a rough time. But I need to do some benchmarking on this machine, and then I need to swap graphics cards and do all the same benchmarking all over again. So I have no idea when the next video is coming out, but I'm going to try and get it out ASAP. So I think it'll be a fun video. But yeah, that's it for me. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and be kind to yourself and others, and may the PC parts be ever in your favor. All right. Have a great night, y'all. This was a good stream. Talk to y'all later.